The stronger the grass, the greater the distortion of perception and judgment.
I'm from Oregon. I drink my coffee, smoke my reefer in the morning. I roll 2 J's up and then I domed them.
Zane Thomas, Hippy
Yes.
Speedball, welcome back, buddy.
Cheers, buddy.
It's good to fucking see you, my friend.
It's good to be back. Thank you for having me.
Dude, absolutely. Last time we freaking kicked it, we had such a dope time, man. Like we were just saying, well, we were getting extra stoned, but before this podcast, got a little bit, got more.
I don't
lit.
even smoke indica, and I was just like, no, I have to take a nap before this. So I was like, indica couch seems like where I need to be.
Yeah. Get
so-
that flow state going. Got the
Yeah,
coffee
absolutely.
brewing. Thank
Absolutely.
you,
No,
Happy
yeah.
Cannabis, for the sick ass coffee mugs and all your support once again.
What?
Yeah, Happy Cannabis. They're a really cool company, just a merchandise company.
Yeah.
And I love the name Happy Cannabis, and they have
Dude, that's
really,
my two favorite things.
I know. See, there you go. Happy
Sold on
Cannabis.
it.
You listening or what?
Sold on it.
Exactly. And they've been really big supporters since like the very beginning. Like they
Yeah.
sent me like free shit like a long time ago.
That's
and I
super
was
dope.
like, and I just told them, I was like, as the show continues to grow, you're still going to be the coffee mugs on the
Dude,
podcast.
that's super. I
And
love
so
it.
they're
I love
the
it.
I had them. I was using other ones for a little bit too, but now I want to make sure that we get them in there. Same thing with the Big Blunt Buddy. That'll always be chilling somewhere on the set. So everybody keep a lookout for that. But
Absolutely.
anyway, nice little stone tangent, buddy. It's good to see you, man.
It's good to see you too.
So let's update the people with what's been going on, bro, because you've been staying fucking steady
busy.
fast on the podcast game.
Yeah,
you know, you're
yeah.
doing more with your music now. I see you
Yeah.
performing all the time, bro.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's really crazy because as like I've watched your snowball get bigger and bigger and bigger, man.
Thank
So
you.
salute
Thank
to
you.
you, man. What's
Thank
been
you.
going
I
on?
appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I've been staying busy with. I've been trying to do hybrid sets.
Okay.
That's something that like you mentioned me doing more hip hop. So like
Mm-hmm.
I've really found that like I don't have 15 minutes. I don't have 30 minutes of comedy and I don't have 30 minutes of music. But I realized that I do have 30 minutes of both. And
Nice.
I've tried to find a way. And hopefully I talked about it last time. But my plan was always to find a way to combine them, you know,
Yes.
and I really want to see progress, you know, I want to see me talking about something and I want to see me like achieving that thing because it's like the reason I appreciate you is because you're somebody who's gone and got it, you know, like
Oh,
a lot of
thank you,
people, do you know
man.
how many people say, I want to start a podcast? Do you know how many people say that? It's
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's,
For
I'm
sure.
sure you, hey, I have a podcast, man. I always wanted to start a podcast. Me and my friends talk and it's like, yes, that can be interesting, but like you have to know how to ask the right questions. You know,
Yes,
you have to make
yeah.
people feel interesting. You can't tell them about how you're interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to have a captivating enough personality to want to hold on a conversation on a
Yeah.
microphone. Like, I mean, you're probably a lot like me. It feels natural for some reason. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I like having the
It
headphones.
didn't
in
used to.
and-
It didn't used to. And
Oh,
by the way, I
really?
don't have the headphones because it'll mess up my hair. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely,
had
for
to
sure. Can't
quickly
do
address that.
I need to get some earbuds specifically for that.
No,
occasion.
no,
Like,
it's totally
it'll
fine.
be your specific earbuds. Like,
Okay,
like,
well, if
I'll-
they're gonna be earbuds, I would hope that they were my
Yeah.
specialty.
exactly.
Are they
I'll-
gonna be fitted to my ear too? Or are we gonna
Let's go all out, man. Let's go all out. We're gonna make them super special. And yeah, and that goes for anybody with an afro too.
Yeah,
So if you
absolutely.
come on the
Anybody out with the
podcast,
afro on the podcast,
I respect that. It's okay. That takes a lot of work, man. It looks
Thank you.
perfect, man.
Dude, it's Ike's. Ike's is the one who hooked up a pretty dope
Oh,
haircut.
I love Ike's.
Right?
Man, shout out Ike's.
Yeah,
man.
dude.
Ike's is the fucking man.
Dude's hilarious. Dude's like just a sweetheart.
Yeah,
like,
he gave me a really big compliment when I was doing the open mic at the social club because he was like telling me, he was like, because I didn't meet him at the open mic. I was talking to him at one of the shows, or like, yeah, I just got to chatting with him at some event or a show that he was doing or something
Yeah.
like that. I remember he was doing comedy and I was talking about the open mic and I was like, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like I come here sometimes and I'm getting a little bit better and better. And he was
Yeah.
like, bro, if you're doing good in the smoking lounge, he's like, you're going to kill at the bars.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, I got to
Damn,
shake off
that's
that
a
nervousness.
Huge ass compliment.
I know,
Holy
for
shit, that's
real.
that's real though.
Yeah. And he's funny as fuck, so his opinion
Yeah.
means a lot to me.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and
No,
it-
that's when funny people tell you that you're funny. That's when you can like actually take that step and be like, hey, like, you know, I do have something. Like, there's no reason I shouldn't believe in myself.
yeah, and I got to call myself out because I still haven't done shit with it since the last time we've even talked. Like, I've only done those open mics and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. Like, I want to go out and do it, but then also it's like, you know, I'll have the kid or, you know,
Yeah.
there's always like something that's stopping me. And it's not an excuse because if I wanted it bad enough, I would be out there doing it and stuff. But I really, I've been getting the itch. I
Yeah,
have.
well, I mean, that's kind of how I felt with like music. is that like it's something that like I know that I enjoy, so it's like I have to like make that attempt to go out and do it, even though it's like I am scared of writing. Not scared of writing, I'm nervous about writing new songs because I don't want to, you know, what if it's a bad song? What if I wasted a bunch of time? What if, you know, like I sat at an open mic and, you know, I didn't do that well? Like there's so many possibilities, but like there's also the possibility, I don't know, I feel like we never like think about the possibility of like, what if everything goes right? You know, so it's always like, what if everything goes wrong? You know, and it's like I feel like I just need to open myself up more to that possibility that like, you know, what if everything was awesome? You know?
That's like that you really raise a good point, because that's like almost, because I'm sure you're probably like me in the fact that we bought like imposter syndrome. Like, I mean, I suffer from that really, really hard. And especially since the growth of the podcast and people becoming more interested in me and what I do and myself and all this different kind of shit, I'm just kind of like, all right, you know, you ever see the movie Carrie?
No, I haven't.
So I'm just waiting for
I know
the pig.
one scene.
I'm waiting for the pig's blood to fall. Like
Okay,
that's the best
yeah.
way I can put it.
Yeah,
I'm just sitting there
absolutely.
constantly looking up for that bucket.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I'm like, when is that
No.
going to be? When is this all going to be a giant joke? And they're like, ha ha.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel like there's two kinds of people. There's people who think they suck and they're dope, and there's people who think they're dope and they suck.
Cheers to that, my friend. That is very, very true. Very true.
But it's like,
yeah.
and I feel like we're the people who fucking think we suck and we're dope. You know
I
what I
appreciate
mean?
you saying that, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so to go back what we were talking about, your combination of comedy and music is something I really think is it's really dope to watch, man, because
Thank
the
you.
first time I ever saw you, that's what you were doing.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
That was
That's
a big
true.
reason I wanted to get you on the show, because I was
Yeah.
like, that's cool.
Yeah,
Because
and
it's like
that's not a place that I did start doing that was at that fucking lounge,
Dude,
because they gave me that much time. I was like, fuck it, you give me 30
dope.
minutes, let's try it out.
you filled it out well, bro. You fucking
That's awesome.
blew the roof off the place, dude. Like
Yeah.
everybody
but it's
loved
like
your
there was also
jokes
people
and-
leaving, and it's just like I have to like not take that personal. I have to be like, yeah, but people were also staying, you know.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
that's-
Well, I mean, it was still like there wasn't that many people that left. I remember it was still pretty full.
Yeah, it's,
whenever
but
you were done.
I only mean this in the sense of like I've been doing this set for a while, and there are situations where people leave, and it's like it doesn't mean that they're leaving because of me. It just means that they're leaving. You know what I mean? It's like, did I expect to captivate an entire audience? You know, or is it like more reasonable to be like, hey, there's still fucking quite a few people still here.
We talked about this on the last episode. We were talking about you doing like a almost like a one-man show, like kind of thing, which would be really, really fucking dope, because there's we talked about it on the last episode too, but Chaz Palminteri, he was the creator of the movie A Bronx Tale.
Okay,
and so his story about it is really cool, because he was like wanting to.
like, is this a black movie?
What's that?
Is this a black movie?
Kind of. Well, like the guy that's the main character in the movie, he falls in love with a black girl who lives over in Harlem.
Okay.
And so there's kind of that thing going on.
Okay.
And his dad.
Like,
So
I haven't
the
seen Boys in the Hood, is what I'm trying to say.
That's a great movie, man. Boys in the Hood is a great movie.
I mean, I don't think I've seen it all the way through, but I do remember the end. And
Have
I'm
you seen
like,
Don't Be a Menace?
No.
Oh, it's a great fucking movie.
Is that
bro.
is that the comedy one? Because maybe
Yeah.
I did. Oh my god, my homie and I got into it because I fucking hated that movie. He
Oh,
was like,
really?
Dude, he's like, it's awesome, and I was just like, I can't.
It's
I can't.
because you have to like it's a parody of all of the other Hood movies.
That's true.
So
That's
like
true.
every
I
single
have no
scene is,
context
like-
for it.
So yeah, if you
Yeah.
watched all those like Hood movies, like
Okay.
Boys in the Hood, Menace
See,
to
I was missing a
Society,
part, yeah.
Juice, and those
Yeah,
movies.
I haven't seen Menace to Society, and it's literally the name is parodying "Don't Be a Menace." You know what I mean?
It's
like,
don't be a
I
menace to
literally
South
have-
Central while drinking your juice in the hood. So it's Menace to Society, South Central, Juice, and Boys in the Hood. Those are the four movies that they kind of parody the most. Like the scene where he like shoots up the convenience store and they're like, hurry up and buy, like that scene. That was a parody off of that one was on Menace to Society.
Okay,
And-
so yeah, I had that makes sense. I fucked that up, but sorry, I was going back to what you were saying before I totally derailed.
No,
Don't
it's
Be a
all good,
Menace.
bro. But Chaz Palminteri made this movie, A Bronx Tale, and it's about him growing up in like the 1950s in the Bronx.
Okay.
And it's like, so
Oh, damn. So that's when he
his-
fell in love with a black woman.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And
okay.
so it was like he was when he was growing up there, his dad was like this hardcore. So the main character in the movie, his dad is like a hardcore, like workings man. He's a bus driver. He's like, you just work for a living. But he ends up befriending a gangster because he ends up witnessing a murder and he doesn't rat him out.
Okay.
Like the cops literally lined him up and they were like, "Is this the guy?" And he said no. And he witnessed it all, and then he started kind of like hanging around with the gangster and stuff like that, and doing stuff with him and for him and making all this money and shit.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of growing up with like this battle of which direction he's going to kind of go in his life, because like his dad's like, "No, you got to keep it straight," and the gangster's like, "Nah, the working man's a sucker," like, and all this other kind of shit. And it's a really great movie. But Chaz Palminteri, when he made this movie, nobody was buying it. Like nobody wanted it. So he said, "Fuck it, I'm just going to do it all myself." And so he turned it into a one-man show, and he literally did the entire movie and did like every single scene and talked about it and shit. And then he ended up like making a fuckload of money. He sold tickets for it. He was selling out auditoriums and shit like that. Then he finally got like a $1 million deal for the movie.
That's crazy.
And then he was only under one condition, that he could play Sonny, the gangster. He's like, "I'm playing Sonny." He's like, "That's the only condition." And they tried to get like other people to do it, and then Robert De Niro directs it, and then he also plays the dad. And
that's crazy.
And the main character, Lilo Brancato, it's crazy because he has like a really like similar story in his real life. The main character, his name is C in the movie, and it's supposed to be Chaz Palminteri. Okay. And then he's like the main character, and Lilo Brancato has had like a really, really crazy story of like going down the wrong path, and now he's really resurging himself, and he's fucking killing it right now, making movies and shit. And Lilo Brancato's the shit, man. You gotta check that movie out.
Yeah, no, for real. I always like a good redemption arc, you know. Like,
and it's like it's cool because like they the scenes in the movie, I'm not gonna lie, did you ever watch Hey Arnold growing up?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you know how they always played like jazz,
and
stuff like that. There's a lot of that in A Bronx Tale.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, that's
and it
like
almost
good
seems
kind
like
of jazz.
Exactly. It works really well with like that old school like New York City environment, especially during the 1950s.
Sampling Hey Arnold.
That's a dope idea, man. You can do like the wow wow they do with their thumbs. You should do that with a bunch of 90s cartoons from Nickelodeon.
Dude, yeah,
like
absolutely.
do like the rocket power. Like
you can't do it with Disney. They'll fucking woogie woogie woogie. That'd be so funny. It'd be a sweet like metal breakdown, you know? Like
hey, Echo the Savage, you listening to this?
For real, absolutely. You better be.
Talk about that. Did you already record the episode with him?
No, not yet. I think that's coming up. There's so many shows that like I really like. I don't know who I'm doing a show with until I walk into it. I knew we had today. It was Tuesday.
I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, absolutely. I knew I had today, but like as far as like my own shows, like I don't know who the guest is until like I walk in with like, especially on Off the Cuff, because like that one's so busy, and it's like I have I don't know, I have a big part in it, but like at the same time, it's like I'm not as
hands-on.
With the
production of it.
Yeah, well, it's like I don't do the production end of it, but it's like I help like book the guests and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So
nice.
Yeah, like Off the Cuff is, for those of you guys who don't know, is like is my music show that I do on Sundays. Every Sunday live on Twitch, and then it gets released on Tuesdays, hopefully. Gets released on Tuesdays. It's I don't know, it's super cool, and I really appreciate just having different outlets, you know, because it's like the Smoke Break is mental health, and then the Off the Cuff is music, and then Rogue Apostles is it's Jesus. I thought I turned it off. I'm so sorry.
It's all good, bro. No worries at all, man. It totally happens.
Not to me though. I'm the exception. But I don't know. It's just nice to have different outlets, because it's like I like talking about mental health, but I don't like only talking about mental health. I like talking about music, but I don't like only talking about music. That's what I appreciate about what you do, and how like the environment that you foster is just like a conversation, and that's something that I really appreciate.
Well, I appreciate that, man. That's all I really want to do is just have just like that was the whole basis of starting the show, was you know, to smoke weed and drink coffee with really dope people and record our conversations. Yeah. And also, this isn't really something I've shared a lot with people, but whenever I've talked a little bit about it on the show, but not much. Like it's like I was off social media for like almost 3 years before I started the podcast. The Instagram I only started when I started the show, and that was only like a few months after I started the show.
Jesus.
And so it was because I was just starting to take it seriously. It took me about like 3 months to really start wanting to actually take it seriously.
Yeah.
And then whenever I was starting to do that, I finally created the Instagram and shit. But before then, I was totally off everything. I was not on Facebook, never been on Instagram, not Twitter. So when I was really trying to first pursue stand-up, I did create a Twitter account because I know that's really good to get your jokes out there and shit like
especially
that.
shorter
exactly. And I loved those. I loved those. And it was my very first tweet I ever did got a reply from Mark Norman.
Damn.
Like, it was my very first reply, and then he freaking got a reply from him.
That's crazy.
And he cracked a joke, and it was like, I took all my Tupperware to lids, no luck. And I was like, and I said, that's weird. I figured they'd have you covered. And he said, that was good comedy.
So good.
It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
But he, I was totally off of it. But then starting a podcast was kind of like my reintroduction back into society.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like, all right, I'm just going to go hang out with all these really cool people. And now I've been invited to different stuff. Like, you just invited me to the Meeting of the Minds. I've been invited to like record release parties. I've been invited to parties in Vegas and all this other kind of crazy shit. And it's just like, and if it wasn't for just hanging out with really dope people and talking to them and stuff like that, that wouldn't be the case.
Well, I mean, I feel like you don't necessarily have to, because you were talking a little bit earlier about like doing stand up, you know, and just like maybe not doing it, like wanting to do it more and maybe not doing it. It's just like, just because you're not doing one thing doesn't mean you're not doing 100 others, you know?
Yeah, that's
and
a good point.
That's something that like I have to focus on, is like, you know, because I just did Portland's Funniest, and like I got a good tape that represents what I do, but I didn't do as well as I wanted to. But like, just because I didn't do as well as I wanted to doesn't mean I didn't do good, you know? And it's like, I want to take like more of a focus on music, you know, like in the next few months, I want to spend more time just being like, all right, like I've spent time, I spent the last 6 to 8 months or whatever, like, you know, coming up with comedy. Like, I have a set that I can, you know, combine together. But like, you know, I don't need to focus as much on comedy, you know, like I can take time to focus on music, because I haven't taken much time at all to focus on music. Like, I have a new song coming out, hopefully within the next month, like hopefully the person that I'm working with, because it's like, I don't like to do collaborations.
Okay.
Because there's so much, I like to work with people, but I don't like doing collaborations with my music, because if I'm very picky.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah. You want to maintain that creative control.
Yeah.
Like, people don't realize like how important that actually is on certain works that you're trying to produce.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm very, I've had tracks where people have just released shit and been like, can you cuss on this?
No, yeah.
Can
yeah.
you?
Oh yeah, okay,
Cool,
definitely.
cool,
Sorry.
cool. Yeah. Sorry. You just,
I thought you were asking like they asked you, like, oh, we did a track and asked, can we cuss on this?
That's so funny. That's but we would do a track together.
I probably dropped like 20 F-bombs at this point, to be honest.
I'm dropping F-bombs during the advertisement.
Yeah, my curse to minute ratio was off the charts. It's like a Joe Pesci movie.
Your LPF, your laughs per minute. Wait, I'm bad at spelling. That's not the point. The point is that
LPF laughs per minute.
Oh my god,
that was great.
I'm surprised I didn't say I'm not good at math. It's like you missed every single point you could have. But I don't know. The thing is like, I don't even remember what the hell I was talking about. How do you get people this high and keep them on topic? You're a pro. I don't know.
Well, no, I appreciate that. But you were talking about how, you know, like, whenever it was like I was wanting to get in stand up and I didn't actually start getting stand up, and
yeah. I think like, you know, I've spent enough time doing stand up and getting good at that. Like, I just want to take some time to just focus on music.
Yeah,
you know, because
I
have some songs that like I want to come out. Creative Control. I've worked on some songs. There we go. We made it. I've worked on some songs with people,
sure.
and they've just been like, they've just released it. They've just released it without me like giving like the go ahead. Like, oh, that's, you know, I'm happy with it. You're happy with it. They've just been like, I'm happy with it, and then released it, and I'm like, whoa, like I put my stuff into that, like, you know, like I feel like there needs to be a certain amount of like fucking, hey, like this is cool before you just fucking.
Well,
just
and
do
also
that.
it stems back to what we were talking about before we started the show, and it's like finding a team that respects the vision.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and then that way
absolutely.
they'll be willing to give you that creative control, saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
this is your baby, but I want to help your baby come to existence."
Exactly.
It's like that too. Whenever you're wanting to
You
make,
can't
like,
pick how your
films.
baby looks, but you can pick how this baby looks.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. Well, it's like you know how you want it to look, but you know that you only need certain pieces of DNA from the team members to make it look this way.
And that's the important thing about like having a team and like realizing and understanding and like that's something that a conclusion that I had to come to because I was just wearing myself out. You know, it's like
I know all about that, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
No,
I'm just getting to that point myself for sure.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that just like understanding that like you're exhausting yourself if you're not, you know.
Yeah.
Like
Well, and also you're letting the product suffer.
yeah, absolutely,
And that's the
very
last thing
true.
you want to do because
Absolutely.
you know then you kind of realize, oh fuck, if I want to maintain this and grow this the way I really want it to grow,
Yep.
I need people.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And so
exactly. And there's people who care and want to just see something that they really enjoy, like you know, come to fruition and you know, exist in a
well, and
positive
especially
space.
like when you have faith in something, in your own ability to produce that something, and you set out a goal for it, it's natural that people are going to come to it because you're passionate about it. And
Yeah,
that's what
absolutely.
really resonates.
Yeah.
And I remember like there's some people that were like saying like a lot of people are intimidated to start a podcast because you know, there's 4 million podcasts out there right now, but also think of how many YouTube channels there are and people are still killing it.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know?
I think, well, like something that Chris had said was just like, we need to come from a place of abundance. We need to come from a place of like, we can all do this, you know, like just because you have a podcast doesn't mean that I can't have a podcast.
No, for
You know what
sure.
I mean? And the vice versa.
It's two
Like,
completely different animals.
Absolutely. And it allows for two different things to happen, you know? It's like, that's a positive
you could
thing.
literally give me all of the same equipment you have and the title, the smoke break, and it still wouldn't be the smoke break because
Exactly.
you're the smoke break. Same thing with Hippy Speedball.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
no,
and
I think
it's
I could host you. No, I'm just kidding.
challenge accepted.
We're actually gonna switch this week. Yeah, I'm gonna try and host yours. It'll be fun.
Yeah. So I actually do have an idea for that. No one, it's not my idea. Somebody actually pitched it to me a long time ago, but they were saying that it would be a good idea for me to be interviewed on the Hippy Speedball sometime. So if you're ever interested in filling that role, because I have a handful of people that would want to.
Oh,
interview
you being
me.
interviewed?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Like
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
like flipping the script on it.
Yeah,
I've had
that
some
would be
people
fun.
say
That'd be
So
fun as hell.
If you ever
I'd
want
love
to
to do
participate,
that.
yeah, for sure. I totally
Absolutely.
trust you. You would ask some dope ass questions, bro.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
could imagine.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's always a great conversation and shit.
Yeah. No, that was the thing that I like. You know, I remembered when we were sitting outside talking. You know, smoking this just
Appreciate
fat
that,
blunt.
man.
Dude knows how to roll fat blunts. So,
Thank you. And I crutch it. So
yeah, and
whatever.
yeah, exactly. And he crutches it, motherfuckers.
I do, man, and
Yeah.
that's what makes it hit so smooth. It doesn't run,
Dude.
and you don't have like that little end that gets all stuck on your lips and shit
Dude,
like that.
I hate spitting out weed, and
Yeah,
it's just
for
like, and I'm
sure.
at somebody's house, I'm just gonna like spit
Well, and
weed
like
on
the
your
end of the wrap gets like all wet, and then it starts to rip, and then it's like flaking off on your lips and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and then it
it's-
gets stuck, and it's just disgusting.
just crutch your blunts.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. I remember that one. Like I was telling you, that one guy at the social club, he was like, "You really crutch your blunts," and I'm like, "Yeah,
He's like, you're goddamn right, I do.
fuck yeah, I do. Go ahead and hit this blunt and see why."
All right, that's 2. That's the 3 strikes and I'm out. I swear.
Dude, I didn't even notice. I was like, "What is he doing?" I didn't even notice. I didn't. Hear
I was
anything
scratching
go
my
off.
ankle.
Yeah. Well, luckily these mics don't really pick up much on the
Perfect.
outside noise. You know,
Perfect.
you guys have like the nice like Shure SM7.
We do.
Bro.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I need to invest in those, man.
Yeah.
I'm running on Shure SM58s.
Dude,
But-
honestly, one of them, like we have the SM, we have the SM7Bs or whatever. We have 2 of those, and then one of them is just a Shure, and I think the other one is too. So it's like we're slowly building up, you know.
Yeah. Well, the SM7Bs
space.
are Shure mics. These are just the SM58s.
58s. Yeah.
For sure. And yeah, for sure.
Nice. Sponsored by. We're working on it.
Hey, you know, Shure mics. I actually am a musician and a podcaster, so
Yeah, it would be a good
always-
investment. It would be a good investment.
Always stood by Shure mics.
Oh, absolutely.
Always.
You can the 58 you can just throw up against a brick wall, and
That's exactly why
it sounds
I got
better.
them. So
Actually,
specifically, that's why I got them, because they can handle literally the smoke.
Yeah,
I was
look at
getting
that.
super blazed, so I wanted equipment that was like fucking sturdy and
Yeah.
really durable. So I got
Yeah.
good cords from Guitar Center. I got
that's a good investment, dude. I
SM58s.
realized the other day that I thought one of my mics was going out, and it was like one of the cords.
Yeah,
And
a good XLR is a good investment.
or it
to
might be
get.
one of the mics. I thought it was initially the interface. I'm just
Oh,
like, this
okay.
thing is what's burning it. And
What do
it
you
was
guys
not-
use a Focusrite?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
With the 2 inputs.
4.
Oh, with the 4. Nice.
Yeah.
That's dope. Hell yeah. And you just
Honestly,
record
I'm
it.
not using it anymore. So if you want to use it and you can hook it up to your computer,
No, it's all good, man. So I
yeah.
have an interface that I do have, but I just kind of use it as backup, like just in case like there's something wrong with my recorder.
Yeah, because yours is such that's the thing I've always liked about your setup, is that you can just like take it somewhere and be like, hook it up and be like, boom. It's
Yeah.
like I have to hook up a computer, and it's this whole process of
See,
like,
sometimes
we
I-
have to get together an hour before this.
Yeah. Right.
Everyone needs to be here because we have to sound check, and that's gonna.
I'm like a fucking pit crew when it comes to my.
Oh yeah, no, it's
my shit.
crazy
I
how
can-
fast
I can get
you
it
set it
set
up.
up
It's
so
it's
fast.
crazy. It's insane.
When I was at the social club, I would just literally show up like maybe a half hour before the guest would get there, and then
Yeah,
just
no,
have
I
a
saw
few-
you set it up. You literally like dropped to like bzz, bzz, bzz. I was like,
I
it's
thought that would be
insane. It's
hilarious
insane.
to actually get that sound effect to just play in the background
Yeah.
while I'm setting it up.
No.
So you just hear like the
Yeah,
and then you hear like, you hear like
That'd be a sweet reel. That'd
I
be a
grew up
sweet
with my
reel.
dad watching NASCAR. I'm not gonna lie, the sound effects are pretty dope.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say you nailed that really well.
Like Michael Winslow. For those
do a
that don't-
helicopter. Do a helicopter. I didn't know that you were. I didn't know you were such a sound effect artist. Hire this man. Hire this man.
I would love to do voiceover.
Voiceover.
I would
really?
love.
I think you could do.
If you have anything that requires any voiceover, if you hear anything, send
Yeah,
them my way, bro.
absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
I can do accents, I can do sound effects sometimes, I
Yeah.
can do different sorts of stuff, and
Yeah.
I have a very smooth jazz radio voice here on the Hippy Speedball Podcast.
X-Ray FM is doing applications. I can send you the thing.
Please do. That would be
Sure.
fucking sick. That would
Yeah.
be really dope.
You wouldn't be able to say that, but
That's all good. I can censor myself. That's okay. I have.
But that's what I mean is we have to come from a place of abundance. Like most
Yeah.
cats would be like, if they get it, it might mean that I can't get it. And it's like, if that's seriously how you're looking at stuff, you're going to be miserable because anybody winning is you losing.
Yeah.
And people are going to win that aren't you. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to come from a place of like, you winning is me winning is you winning.
Absolutely.
Like,
So I like to think of like, yeah, for sure, I'm in 100% agreements with you. And like what I like to think of it as like it's like we're slingshotting each other to different levels.
Absolutely,
because we
absolutely.
maintain
This is a sweet
tether.
co-op game. This doesn't have to be fucking free for all Smash Bros every single fucking
Exactly.
day for 8 hours a day.
We're
It's
working
like,
on a team. Like, this is
Exactly.
Call of Duty.
We're the ice
team.
climbers.
This is Call of Duty. We're the team. The other guys are the fucking challenges that are confronting us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we just got to fucking
absolutely.
work
Well, it's
together
like
and
I always
annihilate
think about
them.
that, like I always think about that, like like at a restaurant, for example. Like I'm already going against I'm already up against the customer. The customer, the audience, whatever it is. Like I'm already up against them. Like I can't have my management and my teammates also being a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
That's
we all have to be.
That's unnecessary bandwidth.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. It's just like, it's like, I think just people just need to view like a person winning as like potential for them to win as well.
For sure.
Like that should be proof that like you can win. That shouldn't be like this harboring weird resentment. And
Well,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
exactly. And you got to understand that whenever it comes to, winning in anything, there's a certain energy that attracts with that, like anytime you
Yeah.
ever see someone that's successful in something, it just makes sense. Like it
Yeah.
literally just does.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
you're
Yeah.
just
You
like,
telling me like how many like people you have following you. I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense.
oh, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just like, you're really good at talking to people. You're interested. You're interesting. Like,
Thank
like
you,
that's
man.
that's absolutely deserves to have people listening to it. It's like, it
appreciate
makes
that.
sense.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate that a
I
lot.
appreciate you.
And those kinds of energies attract one another. And the once you like combine it, it's literally physics that now you have a more powerful force, and then it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And those that repel off whatever, you know, element you are will naturally repel off anyway. So you don't have to worry about that, you know? And then that's why I'm not really worried about any sort of like competition, you know? It's like my main goal is I want to get to 1 million downloads a month. That's what my
1 million downloads a month.
That's what I want between YouTube and the actual podcast audio itself, whatever sort of fraction difference it needs to be. Man. That's the goal.
If I could get to 50, I'd be like, this would be awesome.
So like
50 in a week.
Right now, like when I'm on like a really, really good climb, like back in the day between YouTube and the audio, whenever I was on a really good consistent basis, I was getting generally around like 1,000 downloads a month, something like that. But I need to figure out a way to take that, so get back to that point, because right now I'm slowly climbing back up to that. Yeah. And like I haven't done video enough to really calculate it with the audio and shit like that.
But now that you like got this like video setup, absolutely.
So I got to take that number and figure out how can I multiply that by 1,000. So and that's the whole goal, because like if you're getting, so check this out. This is the kind of money that can really be made in podcasting, and this is why I have enough faith in myself and my show and a personality to make this happen. So 1,000, so 1 million downloads a month is 1,000 1,000s. So, and you could set yourself a CPM with a company, which is a cost per mil for those that don't know. So it's for how much you get paid for every 1,000 downloads. Okay. So you set a CPM at $25, right? Okay. So they pay you $25 for every 1,000. But if you're getting 1 million downloads a month, that's $25,000 a month from one sponsor. Yeah. Imagine if you had 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so you set the sponsors to, if we get this much, then you give us this much?
Yeah, so it's like you get, and then also it's a good budget for them because they know that every 1,000 listeners, they're only spending $25. Yeah. Like that's a really, really good deal.
It means that they're hitting that many ears and you're getting this much. Like,
exactly. And it's a good mutual deal. And that's usually the way it's worked. And my CPM is going to be, because if I'm doing advertisements, like right now I have some sponsors that I'm in talks with right now, but it comes with
Coca-Cola. No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck that. If anything, I'm gonna go find like I'm gonna do like Faygo or something like that. I love Faygo, and I don't even drink soda anymore.
Four Loco.
Oh God. Oh my God. I have drank four Locos in one night.
Oh man, that's like 16 Loco.
I love that. Thank you for that. That was beautiful.
Please.
He'll be here all week. Tip your waitress. Try the baklava. Pew pew. Pew pew. I'm gonna add the actual sound effect in there.
Yeah, like, please. Pew pew.
That's fucking beautiful. But if you're getting, imagine, so if you just have 3 downloads, like so you have 6 sponsors, right?
Yeah.
And then you're getting 1 million downloads a month. That's $150,000 a month.
Yeah, that's
just from that. Yeah, but what I was saying is my sponsors will come with a lot more, because like I'm not just going to do a 60 to 90 second spot on the show. Like they're going to get social media posts, like they're going to get a little bit of brand outreach. Like if I have a sponsor that wants to work with me, then you're going to get a lot of work done for you. Yeah. Like I'm talking like boots on the pavement. I'm going
boots on the pavement.
I'm going fucking way beyond just a 60 to 90 second spot. It's like I want to really make it worth their while.
Absolutely. No, and that's what I appreciate you sharing the game, just because it's like I'm coming from a place of not knowing, and it's like not everybody shares games. Some people figure something out sooner and they're just like, all right, well, figure it out. I had to. And some people are like, hey, like you shouldn't have to spend as much time as I did to figure this out.
Absolutely. And that's the approach that I'm taking. So if there's like any sort of advice, like I actually have some videos that I'm in the works of making that's like podcasting advice and like growing your audience.
That's
and
super
like,
dope. Yeah,
because I've been in this game almost 2 years myself. Yeah. And this September, actually, so next month will be 2 years that I've been doing the podcast.
Yeah, we have been doing our podcast the same amount of time.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? You got like almost twice as many episodes too, because you've been busting out them like every week, man. Which is kudos to you, man. There's been times I've been able to keep it consistent. There's been times I've fallen off, but then I would just drop like 8 episodes at once.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'd pull like the Netflix approach. Yeah, so I would just let people binge for a hot second.
Honestly, and I feel like that's not a bad idea.
And it's good for your confidence too, because you watch your downloads really go up.
Well, somebody told me I need to put it like a week out. Like I need to record this episode and then have it like come out a little bit later, so that way I actually have time to like mix it and do everything I need to get it right.
It can be good, but also, so that's what I used to do. And then what I would suffer
I'm not
from
rushed to edit it.
One, also imagine like, so if you only schedule yourself one per week, and then you just kind of have it like an every other week, like, rotation, totally manageable. However, be careful if you talk about any sort of current events on there, because if it comes out a week later, it'll be totally irrelevant.
That makes sense.
I've suffered from that. I had an episode one time that, thankfully it was really short, and there was a little bit of problems with the audio. So I'm just going to have him over, but we talked about the Rittenhouse trial on that episode. And I just felt terrible because like weeks and weeks went by, and I was trying to reach him saying like, hey man, let's do a part 2. Like, but he's a really, really busy guy. So it was really, really difficult to get in touch with him. And so by the time it came out, like too much time rolled off, I was like, bro, we just got to redo this whole thing.
That makes sense.
And so that one's just in the archives. I'm eventually one day going to release a shitload of archives. I'm going to go old school. Like now that's what I call music style. It's going to be on a CD, like physical copies.
I met a cat who has like a record lathe, and I'm just like, this is fucking crazy.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I was like, it's basically like for those of you who don't know, because I didn't fucking know what it was like, it's where you like spin records out, and he has like a cassette maker, like he's got like all this crazy shit. And
so basically it plays it off a source and collects the vibrations and then puts it onto the wax.
Puts it onto
that's sick.
Yeah,
bro.
He was like he was showing it to me, and I was just like, that's how seriously easy. And he's got like fucking clear ones, and there's like fucking pictures in between them, and I'm just
in touch
like,
with this guy.
I'll get you in touch because it'd be
super dope.
It's gonna be fucking, it's crazy. He wants to like record an episode of Off the Cuff onto cassettes. I was like, that'd be fucking sweet.
That's a dope idea. That's a sick idea, bro. Cassettes. I love cassettes, man. There's some bands and some music that just sounds way better on cassette.
Dude, I remember listening to cassettes and being
same here.
Yeah. Like, I was like, this is fucking this. It's crazy that like they put it on the tape. Like, a disc is weird, but they had that shit on a tape. Like the wax, I understand, but the tape.
It's so weird how they were able to capture sounds onto that little strip of tape.
Yeah, they didn't. Did they have lasers? Did they not have lasers? I'm so confused.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that worked. I don't even actually know the science behind it. What's funny is like way back in the day, my family had this one little small radio that, like, for those watching is probably about like yay big, about yay tall. For those listening is, I don't know, probably about like maybe like 13 inches long and maybe like 7 inches wide. Just a small little tape player, and it had a radio on there, but it had a microphone. Oh, and I remember being able to, me and my friends would record ourselves. And I remember that was like the first time I ever discovered that, way back in the day. So somewhere out there in the world is probably this tape, and it's like me making my own little radio show.
That's super dope.
I remember sitting in my room.
We're gonna make copies of it and sell it on the Hippy Speedball
And I'm
podcast.
seriously like 6 or 7 years old doing this and like just recording myself in my room. And then me and my friends, not gonna lie, we were fucking doing podcasts when we were like 11. Because I still had this tape recorder. That's funny. I would go over to his house and we loved our conversations. We were up all night playing video games. And so we would literally just hit record on this thing and then just let the tape just burn through. And then once it stopped, we would flip it over and record the whole other side.
So funny.
And so it got to a point where we had like, like a 6-hour tape of us just playing video games and
just
shit.
Like bantering and shit.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
It was like a really, really fucking fun time. And I remember and then I remember when podcast came out, I was like, bro, we were doing this shit years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think that like, like is really cool is like when you get to look back on like your past and be like, hey, like I've literally been trading for this my whole life. And those moments of like imposter syndrome, you have to kind of remember that like you have literally been fucking training your whole fucking life for this. You know, when you don't feel funny, think about all the times that you've talked to somebody and made them laugh.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good point. It's the whole thing about trying stand up for me is not that, because I know that the times I've done it, I've done really well. And I've even had comics be like, bro, that was dope.
Yeah,
like,
I know. That's how I felt when I saw you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And I was like, and it was, I've always like, it's just a matter of just getting out and doing it more, And the thing is though, but like, cause the open mics I have gone to in my life, I fucking loved it. But when I first tried it years and years ago, I didn't know anybody. I was literally just an outsider, and I felt like I don't know. I definitely immediately got kind of like the cliques vibe. Like, you know, I was like, okay, these people hang out over here. These people hang out over here. Like, and you kind of see.
And that is probably true. And I feel like that's true of like music as well. But the thing is that like you were the kid in school who like could bounce around every table.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So I'm a social chameleon.
Like,
that's the way fucking Brenboy put it. He's like, I bet you're like a social chameleon. And I'm like, that's a good way to put it.
honestly. And because I was very much the same way where it's like, I can talk to anybody about anything except for cars. Don't talk to me. Cars I can't talk about. That's one thing that I'm just like, I don't
know much about cars. I want to learn more, but I don't know anything about cars either. So I feel you there 100%. And it's like, and so I know that I know I do okay and everything like that, but now it's going to be a lot different because now I got comics I can hang out with. Like I can literally show up and they're like, Joe, what's up?
Exactly.
Like, it'll be a way different environment now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want to go out to Haymaker. I want to go out to.
I think you do really well at Haymaker just because it's like a riff mic. And it's like, it's not necessarily, I take that back. It's not a riff mic. It's, Yeah, it is because there's a comedian on stage. It's Power Hour now, and there's like a comedian, a drinker on stage. They go up there and they like talk during your set.
Oh, okay.
So like somebody's up there just getting fucking smashed. Like the original Power Hour
that sounds
was like
fun.
In Chicago, and it was like they had like a pitcher of beer, and they had to drink the pitcher of beer in an hour.
Nice.
And like you're always like cheers, and you're like Power Hour, and fucking everybody like fucking drinks. And it's like it was a lot of fun, especially back when I was drinking.
That sounds like a fucking blast.
Yeah. And it's like they're on stage riffing. I think there's another comedian on stage riffing. They have like multiple hosts and shit, and then it's super fun time. And then Underbar's online signups only now, but
it is okay.
But it's also just like the room is always packed like consistently.
That's
it's like you know, you feel like you're performing and
that's
telling
one in
your jokes to
Vancouver,
people.
right?
Yep, that's the one in Vancouver.
Okay. Yeah, that's a mob from here, but it'd be worth it.
Yeah, I can give you a ride, because if I'm already going up there.
That would be awesome, man. Maybe we could carpool. That would be a fucking blast for sure. Then I wouldn't have to worry about driving. I could drink. So
there you go. Yeah.
And don't worry, I'm a really fun drunk.
All right, sweet.
I'm all cheekbones. I laugh at I laugh at everything. Like the smallest shit will make me fucking die laughing when I'm drunk. Like it makes me think of. You ever see the movie Arthur with Dudley Moore from way back in the day? They remade it with oh my god, what's his face? Russell Brand. They remade it with Russell Brand, but it's just about this one like millionaire who's like this total fucking drunk, and he's like a total alcoholic, but he's got to get like married, otherwise he's gonna lose his inheritance. And they wanted to marry this one girl, but he ends up falling in love with this one chick who kind of lives like on the like in a bad part of town and stuff like that. And he's like this multi-millionaire. And like the movie starts and he's got this chick in a car with him and he's like riding around like a Rolls Royce and like a tuxedo and shit. And it's just dead silent. And then he just all of a sudden just goes, he just starts cracking up and scares the shit out of the girl. And he's like, I'm sorry, darling. Sometimes I just think funny things. And he's like really drunk and breaks into the girl's house to try to come see her, and then like he ends up like breaking something in the fucking living room, and he's like they flip on the light and he's trying to click it back together, and he's like, I think this one's a goner. It's a great fucking movie, but I'm just constantly laughing, I just all the time when I'm
all cheekbones. I like it. That's
all cheekbones. That's the best way I can describe it. It would be a lot of fun to go out there with you. Let me know, bro. What days is it again?
Yeah. So Monday is the Haymaker. Or no. Sorry. Thursday's the Haymaker, and Monday is Underbar.
What time is it at?
Haymaker, I could give you a ride to. Underbar, I don't think I could because I'm up there doing the Rogue Apostles.
Okay. So, well, actually, that would work out better too because if Haymaker's on Thursdays, then that would actually work out really well because that's whenever I have like a regular person to watch Juniper.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah.
Because that's the main thing is like they're at it usually at time.
You have a kid, you have a family. Like,
but so do other comics though. So
yeah.
I can't use that as an excuse.
Yeah.
I just have to find the balance.
I totally would. I'd be like, hey, sorry.
I've done that with enough things. I'm not gonna put that on comedy. I love comedy too much I got too much accountability. But when we were talking about like when it comes to podcasting, this is way back in the conversation before we went on that tangent. And like, I mean, just imagine making that much money from fucking podcasting.
Dude, for real. Well, it's just like the thing that like the problem that I guess I'm having is just like I feel like I'm creating a cool product, but I don't know how to get that product in front of people. So it's like. You know, no, it doesn't matter like how cool I think it is or how good I think the conversations are or how cool I think the guests are. Like if I can't get it in front of people, it's like that I'm making this for
No, you
my
make
friends.
a really good point. So do you know one piece of advice that I would definitely share, and it's what helped me significantly, just classic word of mouth. So I mean, let's say the smoke break, right? Because I mean, you talk about like, do you talk about weed on the smoke break and shit like that?
No, which is a huge misstep. Because
okay.
I can't sell cigarettes on there. I already tried.
Okay, so what I would say is like, you know, find out who you want to like, who do you think wants to listen to your podcast, and find the places they go, and just do classic word of mouth. Like that's what's really helped me significantly.
So just like go to a mental health clinic and just pretend like I'm booking an appointment and just be like, hey.
By the way, I want you to take a listen to this and shit like that.
Do you listen to podcasts?
Well, okay, so like, let's say, you know, if that's the community you really want to be listening to the podcast and stuff like that, find ways to like make like reels that would approach like that would, you
Is
know.
there any way I can vape in here?
I don't care. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Go for it, man.
like-
Oh, good, bro. Like find ways that, you know, like, you know, the ways you can like reels that kind of have that approach, and find ways to put it in front of those people.
Yeah. The
But
reels
then-
have been like picking up. It's a slow process, but you know, it's,
Okay, so let's go even deeper. So maybe not just necessarily people that suffer from mental health. So let's go to like, you know, an AA meeting or anything like that, or let's go to like, you know, so musicians, like, you know, artists, activists, the creative types. Find out.
I think word of mouth is just like, if I were just to like pass out flyers or just anything to be like, hey, check this out. Hey, check
it
this
works
out. Like,
very well.
yeah, well, it's like I do Lyft rides, and you know, it's just like if I just had a card at the end of it where I'm just like, hey, fucking check out the smoke break. If you really enjoyed our conversation, check out the smoke break. You know,
dude,
like
that's fucking genius.
That was really, I said that, and I was just like, please give me a clip of that just so I can remember I said that.
Absolutely, I'll give you a clip of that. For sure, man.
Otherwise, I'll forget.
That is a fucking genius approach,
Thank you.
my
I
friend.
appreciate that. Yeah, because
just have a little something. I think so. I want to get stickers made, because those are really, especially in the cannabis community.
Oh yeah,
and stuff like that. And also, there's so many people in the fucking cannabis community, and the fact that it's called the smoke break.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
like go to fucking dispensaries.
Ooh,
like
goddamn.
go to fucking go to dispos.
You're a good dude. You're a good dude, because you see this as a place of abundance, not a like they're mine.
No,
you know
for
what I mean?
sure.
You're just like, no, here's a good idea. You should try this. You know?
That's what's helped me a lot. That's why I go to that's why I go to Vegas for like the G4 Live Expo. And I actually ran into Joss when I was there.
That's great.
And it was because I gave her the same advice, and I was like, word of mouth, and go to expos, conventions, go to places where there's going to be a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the best thing about when you're doing that as a podcaster is because you need them to fall in love with your personality first before they're going to want to listen to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that person-to-person interaction, they're like, I remember that guy, he's fucking dope. And then they listen to the podcast, they're like, dude, I love this show. And then that's how you create listeners, and then they tell their friends, and they tell their friends, and then it just kind of slowly expands out. And that's what's helped me the most, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's
a
cool
little
that
bit more work, but it's fun.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that you've built what you have, like, you know, through the means of just like a very, like, you know, just a person-to-person approach, like, I think that, you know, says a lot about the importance of connecting with people instead of trying to connect with a large listener base.
Yeah.
You know, if you have somebody who's consistently listening every week, it's better than having 50 people who only listen once.
Yes,
You know,
exactly. Exactly. Like, I would fucking take 3 weekly listeners over 3,000 listeners that listen only one time.
Exactly.
Like, I would rather have people that are tuning in every week, because then we build a connection with one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And then also classic, like, you know, stuff like this, like cross promotion, like going on other podcasts and helping promote each other's shows and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And for a little piece of advice, one way that you can help out a friend who owns a business, does a show, a musician, whatever, for free, this is a little trick that I've learned, and it's really helped out my friends a lot.
Sure.
So let's say your friend is promoting a business, right? Go follow that business, because it shows them, oh wow, this person posted and now my followers went up. Like they must have some sort of influence. It really helps out your
that
homies.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Really helps out your homies. That's a little thing that I've done.
No, that's
before.
really good.
And also, if you want to get in contact with someone, and like, let's say you want to follow them on Instagram or whatever it is, and you have a shitload of mutual followers, and there's really no reason you shouldn't be following one another.
Yeah.
Let's say you follow them and it's been a while and they don't follow you back. Unfollow them and then refollow them. And all of a sudden they'll get the notification. Because they might not have got it last time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they might have their phone.
That's like, but my anxiety is just like, no, they ignored it, and it's just like,
give it a shot.
Yeah, honestly, I think
it works, dude. I've had like fucking like 50 or 60 people that I've done that with, and it fucking worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's like they might not have seen it the first time. They might, they
might not have had their phone on.
They
them.
might not have had. Yeah, exactly. There's any number of reasons, and that's where I think like it comes in handy of just like thinking of the possibility, like what if this is like a positive thing as opposed to like like what if this is a negative thing? Because that's
and
that's
it's
thinking
kind of,
that I have way too much.
What's that?
Just that something is a negative that like if, like in the instance of like a misunderstanding or a miscommunication, it's always that like the person thinks the worst.
Oh, for sure.
It's never like the person like thinks the best. I've never been like, what if this person thinks I'm awesome? It's like I've never thought that, and it's like I wish that like my my connection to like thoughts and people was more positive. But I don't remember where I was going with that, but
no, for sure, man. No, for sure. I got you. It's really hard whenever you're, when you really criticize yourself a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really tough whenever it's hard not to see that, because like I'm my harshest critic. Like I just had this recently, like really, really bad fucking blowout with my mom.
Yeah.
And it was like, because we've had a lot of problems throughout the years, and it was a lot of stuff to do with, issues that she's had with certain family members. She just kind of took it out on me with, and all this other kind of shit. And then we, had this fucking crazy moment, but a lot of my stuff stems from those feelings and those times and everything.
Absolutely.
And whenever you have those constant thoughts, it's really hard not to think like, oh, they didn't message me back. They must not want to work with me. I must not be good enough. Like that's my biggest thing, is always never feeling like I was good enough, because I was always last picked. I was always, the chubby kid. I was always last place.
Well, I was thinking, like I had this realization because I had this homie who I wanted to hang out with. But like, a lot of times when I go to hang out with him, it's just me watching him play video games, and he had like blown me off on this day where I was just like, I don't have time, which means that if I make time, I like want that person to be like, hey, like Zane doesn't have time and he cares enough to like make sure. And it was like his birthday, and I was like, all right, I'm taking it off. Like I'm gonna work a bunch the night before so that we can hang out. And he like blew me off, and I was just like, it just fucking hurt. And it like, I got upset with him, but I also had this realization that like when I was younger, I used to be like so desperate to have friends that like there was these two friends that like they would always hang out, and he's like, hey man, my mom says I can only have one person at the house. And I'm like, okay. So then I would just like, I literally sit outside the window, and they would talk to me, but I would just be like, I would watch them play fucking video games. And it was just like, and he's like, oh, they just, like he could only have one person over, and I was never that person. And it was just like, I realized that like, I've almost would rather do that, where it's just like, hey, we're hanging out, this is fun. It's just like, nah, man, like you shouldn't have to fucking
take scraps.
Yeah,
like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to fucking sit outside, fucking just to hang out with somebody. You know? It's like, is that even hanging out? Like,
that's so fucked up. That is so. I'm sorry you went through that, man. That's fucking brutal.
I appreciate that, but it was that realization that like I had to start making that realization and like a conscious decision to hang out with people who want to hang out with me. Like that's something that like I need to respect myself. Like I just turned 30, like I can't not like super recently, like at the beginning of the year, but it's like, this year 30 is new to me.
I forgot we were so close in age, dude, because I'm actually like next week is my birthday. I'm actually about to turn 32.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's just, like I'm just coming to that realization that like, my 20s was for fucking up. My 30s is for fucking using those mistakes to, grow from, you know, like and figure out like what my place is, because it's like I know where my place isn't, like
Yeah.
I had
That's
to,
a very good point.
I had to make those mistakes to know what I wanted to do better for the next 10 years. And so I think, just trying to occupy a space that like I'm anything less than, openly welcomed in, like it just doesn't make sense for me.
No, for sure. And that you
like,
raise a really good point about like, well, two really good points. That whenever you were saying if it's not a welcoming space, you don't belong there in the first place. And that's a really hard thing to come to realize, because there's so many places you want to be and you want to be accepted. But then when you aren't, it takes a while to be like, all right, fuck it.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I'm out,
yeah, or it'll just be like I'm gonna create my own space. Like,
exactly.
And that's something that like with working with the Rogue Apostles, like they're just like, hey, we want you to produce shows, and I'm just like, fuck it, I'll run my own goddamn room.
There you go.
Exactly.
What I mean?
Like if like I go to a hip hop like crowd and they're just like, oh man, it's this dude. It's like, why the hell would I like continue showing up to that space if all I want to do is perform? Why would I perform with people that like either don't want to perform with me or like,
that are just brushing you off?
Yeah, brushing you off, or like, either don't know you exist or like, think negatively of you.
Or don't respect that you exist.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and it always hurts because it's like, that's never me, like I'm always that person who's like, my biggest thing is if I see a circle of people and you're on the outside not talking to anybody, you're the person I'm going to talk to. I'm going to be like, hey, like, what are you excited for? Because like, I know what it's like to sit on the outside of a fucking circle and be like, hey, I'm the one who's not talking, but like, I'm kind of glad to be here. Well, and especially when it's a circle you already belong in, you're just not in there yet. Yeah,
you're just
exactly.
like, and then it's like, dude, I'm supposed to be here. You just don't know that yet.
Yeah,
And what I wanted to bring this up, you made a really solid point about like fucking up in your 20s, and so you can fix those things in your 30s.
Absolutely.
Like, and I think that it's like you fuck up in your 20s so you can grind in your 30s. So you can grind and build in your 30s, and then build more in your 40s, and that way by the time you turn 50, you can just chill.
Just fucking chill.
And you can just do your fucking thing. I want to retire before I can get like the seniors menu.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I
want to retire fairly early because I have like both of my parents, my mom's gonna be working for probably a very long time.
Yeah.
But my dad, he's been a truck driver for it's probably been about 24 years now.
Jesus.
24, 25 years.
That's
something
impressive.
like that.
That's impressive.
And so he's going to be retiring probably in the next like 4 or 5 years. And then he's going to be just doing his thing, which I'm really, really excited for him too, because truckers don't get enough respect.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, it's stupid, like the lack of respect that they get for being literally the person who puts food on your table.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. We all saw what happened when the truckers stopped, and it's not good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're still getting recovered from that.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many grocery stores that are still recovering from that shit.
Dude, it's crazy, like, seeing like the food shortages and stuff where it's just like, damn, these like shelves aren't stocked.
Yeah, for
like,
sure. Well, and like
it's of like Red Bull, so it's nothing super important, but like also
I hate that the whole like the trucker protests got so convoluted with so much different political bullshit and stuff like that when they didn't realize what the main point was. And it was like, and then the people fucking saw what happens when these guys stop, and I'm like, good,
like, yeah, absolutely,
good,
absolutely.
Like,
no,
respect these fucking guys,
absolutely,
and girls,
absolutely,
and respect the truck drivers because they fucking. Excuse me. First off, it's not a fucking easy job. Yeah. Like sitting there driving for that long periods of time, long nights.
I drove to Medford the other day and I'm like, fuck this.
Dude, so my dad, him being a truck driver, I've gone on the road with him a bunch of times. And you go fucking places that like, it's like you're out in the middle of nowhere. Like, and you like, you're fucking out, it's late at night and you know that you don't have a rest stop for another fucking 6 miles and you're already fucking blowing cold air on your face and trying to keep yourself awake and shit. And then
and it's
eating
like,
healthy is a challenge, staying fit is a challenge.
Sure,
like there's so many problems that go with it, and also not to mention what it does to your family too.
Absolutely,
like if you have kids and stuff like that. I definitely don't advise anybody with like a family to be a truck driver.
No. I had one of my moms was a truck driver, and it was just like, okay, cool, I'll see you in like 2 weeks or
6
like,
to 8 weeks, whatever it is.
Yeah. It's I don't even remember honestly, just because like I saw her so little. It's like I couldn't even tell you the distance between.
Well, and yeah, that's how it was with my dad growing up too, because
Yeah.
like, you know, and then that's like, you know, he started driving truck and there was a lot of issues that ended up coming from that and stuff like
Yeah.
that, which ultimately led to my parents splitting. But I mean, they
Yeah.
weren't good together anyway.
Yeah.
And so it was like it was a blessing in disguise at the time, but they divorced when I was 10.
Okay.
And so it was definitely like a big thing at the
Sure,
time and shit.
sure, I imagine.
But they like the truck driving thing definitely did a toll. Like,
yeah,
on
well,
it.
it's just it's hard to maintain a relationship when you're like that busy.
I'm
You know, when
exactly.
you're spending that much time away, like, you know.
I'm
that's-
31 and me and my dad are just starting to get like an actual like father-son relationship.
Good,
like
good.
we're building the blocks for it. It's going to take time.
Yeah,
but it's time I
absolutely.
want to get close with my parents. Like I see
Yeah.
like my friends that have like they're all close with their parents and they
Yeah,
do shit and stuff like that. I'm like,
yeah.
"Bro, I want that."
I'm super close with my mom, but my dad is a tough nut to crack.
Yeah. Dads can be like that at times for sure.
Well, it's like I didn't know my dad until I was like 23, so it was like,
damn.
yeah. I had never met him, and that was like I had come back from China and was. I went on tour, which is the douchiest thing when I started doing stand up, because the person who I was with was just like, oh yeah, we went on tour, and it's like we just put that we were going to open mics on a fucking flyer. And I'm like, I did not do this. I should not say we, because he did this, and I
gonna say,
went
Zane,
along with
come
it.
on,
I was
man.
also on the. Oh yeah, no. The thing is like I advertise myself now, but like I never used to advertise myself
Mm-hmm.
before, and it was just like because I was like, no, this is fucking stupid, you know. And it's like,
It's a hard thing, like I said, with that imposter syndrome. It's a
oh
tough
yeah,
thing to
absolutely.
like finally be like,
You're
okay,
I shouldn't share the things that I'm doing because I shouldn't be happy that I'm doing things.
yeah.
you know?
Well, and also it's like not to toot our own horns too much, but when you're also really good at doing something,
yeah,
and you're
and then see how humble
naturally-
as just like
Yeah.
like I'm very hesitant to say that I'm good at things.
Me
know?
too, man. Me too,
Yeah,
100%. But
absolutely.
when it comes to this kind of conversation, it's important to bring up because whenever you know that you're good at doing something, but it's only because you enjoy doing it. It's not a look at me
Exactly.
kind of thing.
Look,
you
I'm good
know?
at doing this thing. It's like it goes back to there's people
You're not
who
doing it for
are dope
attention.
and think they suck, and there's people who suck and think they're dope.
Exactly.
You know? And I
And-
performed with both people, you know. And some people you can't get their confidence up enough, and some people you can't get them to be fucking any less arrogant. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, wow. That's a solid fucking point. That's
Yeah.
a clip right there. That's a solid point. Yeah. That's a really good point.
No,
and it's like a, you know, there's a lot of people that do stuff specifically for fame and attention. And those are the ones that you really cringe at the hardest. And like,
Yes,
you're just like,
yes.
but then when people do something because they love it,
Yeah, exactly.
then it brings on a whole different light.
Absolutely. No,
And then
that's-
you're not intending to get famous. You're not intending to
Exactly.
get like, you know, crazy, like, you know, popular or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like that's why it's like I was hesitant to even create an Instagram for the longest time
sure.
because I'm just not a look at me kind
Exactly.
of guy.
I fucking hate pictures. I hate pictures.
Dude. Getting on
hate-
video was tough for me to adjust
Same
to.
thing. Yeah.
My
yeah.
very first video episode of the podcast, I say at the very beginning, I'm kind of nervous because I'm on camera and this is weird for me. Like,
Yeah.
like talking into a mic, no problem. You
Yeah,
turn
being on camera. Yeah, I get so nervous.
with
Well, it's
cameras
like
and lights. And,
you probably at some point hear my leg thumping on this, and it's like I don't know if you could hear it through the mic.
No,
but
I
it's
can't
like,
at
yeah,
all.
like, and it's something that I didn't realize I did until I was on camera.
I think
And
the only
then-
thing that's going to pick up on the camera is going to be the shaking of the mic.
Yeah, the
stands.
shade. Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah. So go back to the beginning if you want a sweet Easter egg. And it's like, what's happening? It's just like, I just hit the microphone. I'm a monster. You know better. But yeah, it's definitely like it's a hard adjustment, and there is that imposter syndrome because it's like, yeah, when I first started doing stuff, I didn't advertise myself at all.
No.
You know, and it's just like because I didn't think you have to like yourself to want to sell the product.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't like yourself, why would you sell a product you don't like?
Yeah, for
You know?
sure. That's
Hey, do you want this shit sandwich? I don't like it. Do you want to eat it? It's like, no, no, I don't.
No, and it's like yeah, that's a really good point because like if you feel like that about yourself, it's like why would you want to put that in front of somebody
Fuck
else's
no.
eyes,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's weird whenever I even get people like that. Like it's not weird. It's a very big blessing whenever I have people compliment, like as much as you've been complimenting me this podcast and other people that say
Yeah.
they like the show and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It definitely keeps me going and stuff. But it also kind of raises that little like why. Like,
Yeah,
and I remember
yeah.
even asking myself that, like asking people that, like whenever they're like, I really like your podcast. I'm like, why? Like,
Yeah.
we hardly talk about anything. We just bullshit and stuff like that. They're like, but I
Yeah.
like what you bullshit about.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
which is why I think, like, you know, your podcast and Hippy Speedball, and there's a handful of others out there that, like, you know, we just got to ride the wave of the other podcasts just fucking burning themselves out, because not everybody has the ability to do this. It's
Yeah.
not for everybody. I think
Yeah.
if somebody wants to give it a try,
Yeah,
then go
absolutely,
for it. So I
absolutely.
listened to, do you ever listen to Your Mom's House with Tom Segura?
No, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm a
Okay,
bastard.
which is funny because I'm only listened to a handful myself.
Yeah,
like I have
yeah.
my homies podcast
I don't even
that
listen
I
to that much
listen
hip hop.
to. That's awesome. But like, it's like whenever you, fuck, I lost my train of thought for a second. I was talking about. Shut up, man! I'm trying to get it. It's like a door in a dream. It's going further and further and further the longer it goes.
My friends also hate this.
Yeah. Oh, Your Mom's House, Tom Segura. Boom, got it. So I was listening to it, and like it was either his podcast or he was on Rogan, but they were talking about podcasting, and they were saying, like, you know, like, it's like, well, you could, like, you know, someone's like, oh, I want to do a podcast. It's like, well, you can try, but they were like, oh, it takes a really, like, I mean, unless you're just like, if you want to have just like a podcast where you're just hanging out and bullshitting with people,
Yeah.
he's like, good luck, but it's going to take a really captivating personality to make that
Absolutely.
happen. And in my eyes, I'm like, challenge accepted.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
no,
like,
that's cool that you saw that as like as an opportunity to try that instead of something to, like, you know, scare you away from it.
and this was just recently, like
Yeah,
this was
no,
long
it's-
after I even did the show, and I'm like,
Yeah.
haha, joke's on you, because my
Yeah.
show's growing.
Absolutely. No, and I think that's a really good point, is that, like, because you saw it as an opportunity to, like, grow, you know, or to not only, like, do the thing, but, like, to continue to do the thing, and then and know that that's, like, your place, is that, like, you know that you are good at that, and
Yeah.
it's not something that everybody can do. So yeah.
And it's something that we get, like, you know, for people that don't really understand, like, you know, what can come of it, we'll just brush it off, because, like, even if hypothetically I don't make the 1 million downloads a month ever, I still just love doing the show, and the
Yeah.
opportunities and the doors that have been opened
Absolutely.
since I started this show have just,
Absolutely.
that's payment in itself, because I never
Absolutely.
would have met all these really amazing people and getting invited to all these really fun
Absolutely.
things and shit like that. And, you know, and now I have a mentor who's a business expert. He's helping me out with so many fucking
That's
things
cool.
and shit.
That's super cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
mentors are super important.
I
Yeah.
just recently learned that myself, like,
Yeah.
and opening myself up to that, because I have like a tendency to just get involved with what I'm doing, and any sort of outside influence, like we talked about earlier, you
Yeah.
get very picky because it's your
Yeah.
baby, you
Absolutely.
know,
Absolutely.
and all the doors that have been opened have just been such a fucking blessing. Shout out David Tyerman. Check out his book, World Famous, How to Build a Kick-Ass Brand.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. He was one of the keynotes at the Vegas event that I was at. The first time I met him, he was one of the keynotes. And then we met at the after party. And I've talked about this a bunch of time on the show, but we met at the after party, and we got to, like, and it was cool because he actually approached me.
Yeah.
And which was really awesome, because throughout the whole night, people were trying to pull him away and trying to
Yeah.
approach him and shit like
Yeah.
that. And then they would come up and be like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. I do this. Here's my card, blah, 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 blah. And then
Yeah.
David's like, okay, cool. Thanks a lot, man. Then right back on our conversation.
Right.
And then
That's
he
super cool.
said that there was something about my energy that he just loved, and he was like, you're a really interesting person. And he actually
Yeah.
gave me a huge boost of confidence, because at this point the show was only, I started in September of 2020. This was in May of 2021. So it was like 8 months old.
Yeah.
So like the show was like 8 months old at the time, and like I was just, this was my very first expo or convention I've ever
Yeah.
gone to like that.
Yeah.
And I was just going to meet people and network, and my goal was, I even told this to myself, I was like, anybody that I see, I want to resonate as much energy out of myself as possible.
Yeah.
That was my goal.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to take all of my good positive energy that I have, and I want to harness it, and I want to push it out. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, the feeling whenever you like can feel someone walking around like the corner to come
Yeah, I
into the
think
room.
we talked about this last time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I wanted
no,
to-
but I really remember it, because it was like, I need to go back and listen to that episode, because that was such
a
a
lot of
great
fun.
conversation.
It was a great time,
because
man.
yeah, because the thing is like, I don't remember what Scott said, but I remember how I felt at, like, leaving there. You know what
I
I
appreciate
mean? And
that,
like, that's,
man.
I think a feeling is more important than a memory, because there's people I have good memories with, but bad feelings.
Oh, for
You know?
sure. That's a really good point. That's a really, really good point. Well, I'm glad that's a huge
Yeah.
compliment, man.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely,
a
absolutely.
huge compliment.
Absolutely.
And it was like, I wanted to resonate as much of that energy as I possibly could. And then I also made myself a promise that anybody I see having a birthday, bachelorette party, bride to be, whatever it is that they're wearing something, I'm gonna make a big fucking deal about it.
Yeah.
Like that was my goal. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm really gonna like anybody, I'm gonna be like, yo, you fucking rock. And it have to be like, yeah. And they just get into it because they're all fucked up. It's Vegas.
Yeah.
And we're all having a good time. That was something I did the whole fucking trip. So anybody,
no,
and I'm like,
people appreciate like genuine compliments.
yeah,
Like,
and that was something that really helped. And then I met my mentor, and then a year later, I got to introduce him as a keynote speaker, and that was a huge deal for me because
sure.
one thing that's a kind of a dream of mine is to be like a keynote speaker because
Yeah.
I want to make my life better so I can teach other people how to do it.
Absolutely.
'Cause I'm a really good teacher. If I know
Yeah.
something, you're gonna know it too.
Exactly.
and I'll find a way to relate the material so you
Absolutely.
do know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, no,
very
I'm
good at that.
I'm very much like the same way. Like when I went and taught
can
in
tell.
China, when I taught, thank you, I appreciate that. But like when I went and taught in China, like I realized that like somebody understanding something means like so much more to me. Sorry, I thought I heard my phone.
Hold on, before you jump into that, I want to check something. Well, I had a panic attack for a second because I saw that the door was locked, and I thought Juniper was still outside, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like
Yeah,
it's
no,
like,
no,
what
no,
if
you
she's?
did it? You had it when you came in. You're just like, nope, I unlocked it. I got to make sure she can get it.
Yeah, I was like, so that's why I thought for a split second, I'm like, fuck, I've been doing a podcast. Like, what if she's been trying to knock on the door? Like, but I would hear her because this window's open right here, so
Right.
yeah,
Hey.
it would be okay.
Don't worry, you're always on good dad mode.
Thank you, appreciate that, man. Have to be.
Absolutely.
She's my little ride or die. I love that fucking
that's,
kid.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm actually gonna be making her a vest. Like it's gonna be all
Oh,
studded
that's
out and
dope.
shit. So
That's super dope.
And she wants to have rainbow hair, so I'm gonna find somebody that does really good coloring
Yeah,
with their
yeah,
hair
yeah.
and everything. So
Yeah.
if there's any ladies listening, which there's actually a lot of ladies that listen to the podcast. So
Yeah, that's cool.
ladies listening, if you know anybody that does really good hair coloring, send them my way in the
Yeah.
Portland area.
Also send them my way because I'm trying to get this shit done up. Also as a rainbow, yeah.
That would be pretty sick, dude.
Yeah.
That would look really dope. At least a temporary thing. That would be sick, dude.
Just get some of those like those hairsprays that are just like
Yeah, old school, man.
yeah, absolutely. Just put silly string up there.
Oh, that's fucking great. Makes you think of on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, wherever Dennis dyes his hair black.
I haven't seen like the newer episodes. I'm like so far behind.
This
on
is
that
a
shit.
really older one, actually.
Oh man, I'm
Because he's like, it's not like super old, but it's like kind of, I don't know, like probably like season 6, 7 or something like that.
Yeah, that's for the.
But he was like, they were talking about getting older and stuff like that. And he just fucking dyed his hair black. And then he was like, he's like, what are you doing? You look like Superman. And he was like, well, he was the original, right? It's like, original what? Superhero. Is that what you're going for? It's so fucking
so
funny.
good. That's
I
so
love
good.
that show so much. What were we talking about before I had to get up?
Something about teaching. I really enjoy teaching.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
I really enjoy teaching. Yeah, there's something about like teaching somebody and helping them like understand that and watching
Yeah.
that light in their eyes and
I
be like,
love
oh
it.
shit, yeah, it's
Dude,
like
same here, man.
it's super rewarding. I
And-
wish they paid fucking people at schools way more.
Oh my god, I know that's bullshit, man. Like,
It doesn't make
it's-
any sense. You're literally controlling the future of like fucking every child in America.
Well,
and
in
you're getting
reality,
how
it's-
fucking much?
It's done on purpose to create a dumber generation. That's all it is.
Makes
Because if you
sense.
pay teachers less, they care less. It's proven fact. This is
Yeah.
why private school teachers make so much more than public school teachers,
sense.
and they have a way better education.
Yeah.
And it's because they care about it more. They're getting
Yeah.
paid the amount that they feel like they should get paid.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what needs to get implemented. Is
Yeah.
like, and then
well, just paying somebody their worth just makes them work harder. You
Exactly.
know? Like that's
exactly. You fucking, if you're fucking people over, they're
Yeah.
not going to want to put in the extra effort for you.
Absolutely,
And as much as
absolutely.
someone loves teaching, they can only take so much emotional abuse and financial abuse from the outside system that they're not going to put as much effort into helping these kids, because also they know that they're not going to get paid for the overtime they need.
Yeah,
Like they're going to have, like, if
Do you
they
know
have
how
to.
much I slacked at McDonald's? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I did not give a fuck. But it's just
For
like,
sure.
do you know how hard I worked at my carpet cleaning job? Fucking, I gave a shit.
No,
you know? 'Cause it's just
exactly,
like-
dude. When I was working my first job at a Baskin Robbins, I didn't give a fuck, like, and then even when I was working at like a Papa Murphy's, I would work just as hard as I felt like I needed to,
Yeah.
but then if I was, so like when I was doing commission sales in the alcohol industry, once I found out how much money I could make, I busted my ass.
Oh, absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know?
Commissions.
Bro.
They need to commission fucking, you know what I mean? Like they need to commission like school teachers. Cause it's just like, if I made more money every time a kid passed this test, they'll believe they're fucking passing this
That's
test.
not a bad idea.
Dude, for real. It's
That's
like,
a really
that's how you
good
turn teachers
idea.
into salesmen and saleswomen.
Bro, they're selling good grades.
Exactly.
Hustling them A's,
Dude,
man.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's like, oh, they have to pass. I'd be selling
If you
them.
gave teachers an incentive
Absolutely.
for a higher grade,
Even if it was like
that-
25 cents, you know what I mean?
That's-
Like it doesn't
that's-
even have to be much. It's still more than they're making.
this is going to be a clip. This is what's going to be clipped and shared
We
on
save the
YouTube.
world. We save the world.
Bro, that's a great fucking idea.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah. So where do you think the money would come from though?
That's always the question. That's
That would
always the
be
question.
well. I mean, if this could be implemented, maybe it
Yeah,
would
well, it's
also
like
make
if
them
more kids are passing, then we're getting more success out of the program. And if we're getting more success out of the program, it should, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, you could do fundraisers. That would
absolutely.
supplement this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
I think
you could literally
fundraising-
have it like district wide. So it's like all the different high schools, all
Yeah.
the different middle schools, all the different elementary schools.
Yeah.
So it's like, they have like a district wide fundraiser
fundraiser
for
and it's
every
just
single
like,
school in the
yeah,
district.
and it's just like all the money that goes into this is going to go into paying the teachers extra. We can't just keep
Yes.
complaining about teachers not getting paid enough, but not be doing
you could even
what
go
we can to
further and
help.
make it like a benefit concert. You
That
could
would be
even
super
do
dope.
shit like that. You could
That
make
would-
it at like the end of the school year to
Yeah.
supplement for the next year's school teacher.
Yeah,
Have it-
honestly, and if we just said that we would do it, you know what I mean? It's just like,
this is an idea, bro.
yeah.
This is a really, really good idea.
Yeah.
And make it so like 90% of the proceeds all just go straight to this, because you'd have to pay the people organizing the event. But it's
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
that
But-
would be a sick idea, man, because that's something I've
That's-
never heard of that before. Did you just make that up off the
Yeah.
cuff?
Oh, yeah. Off the cuff.
Hey-o.
Check it out.
Shameless plug.
If you had to hear your headphones in, it would be a lot cooler. Once
Yeah,
you listen
yeah.
back on it, you'd be like, that was cool. Proximity. No, that's a fucking great idea, man.
Yeah,
That's
well-
see, and it's ideas like this that I think would make a major impact in so many things. Thinking outside the box on this sort of stuff.
No, I just got super high and thought of that. Super high, super sleep deprived. I thought it was going to be
Did I tell
not
you?
helpful.
Did I tell you, or did I not tell you that Hippy Speedball puts you in that flow state?
Oh, shit. He did. He did tell
I
me
told you that. There's science that backs that up. I'll go ahead and
Yeah.
put the links in that right in the fucking description. If you don't believe me, you can
Absolutely.
fuck yourself. It's a real fucking thing.
No,
There's-
absolutely. It's just like it
dope
slows it
idea,
down
man.
and speeds it up enough.
That's
you know,
such a sick idea. I am 100% all for
Let's do
that
it.
and trying to implement that any way possible.
yeah. Even if we were able to do that for one school, and we're just like, hey, every time you have a student pass this, we'll give you 25 cents until this runs out. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like that way, it's not like something crazy that it's like unattainable. You know, it's just like, hey, like 25 cents, 5 cents.
Well, you
10
could
cents.
make it. You could also
It's
break
like
it down
returning a
per-
can. If we said it was like we put a dime on every single student who passes,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, you know what I mean? It's us saying that like we see the problem, we know that the schools aren't helping. So if there's any way that we can help, like understand that we're spreading this out through a bunch of people, so we
Mm-hmm.
might not be able to do as much as we want. But like, let's say that we make a huge amount, then we can share a huge amount. You know.
Mhm. Well, and I think the only red tape that might be having to go around would be like avoiding them letting them cheat just for the incentive of the money. So you'd have to
Yeah.
find a way to be able to.
But that was always a fear, anyways.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know,
That's a
like
good
those
point.
teachers were always, and that's the same thing with like
But
sales.
now if you
can
had, like-
sign people up that aren't going to, you know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
always a way to like, if they're supposed to be keeping the students from cheating and they're cheating, that's insane. We have to watch the teachers watch the students.
Yeah, for sure.
In
Who
some
watches the
yeah,
Watchmen?
Who watches the Watchmen?
Exactly.
Watching the Watchmen.
Exactly. And it's like so that would be the only thing that would be so. But if you found a way to regulate that, like if there was a way
Absolutely.
that they would have to you would have to hire fact checkers
Yeah.
to see like and
But
like.
hiring one fact checker is better, is easier than,
But what I'm saying is like they would have to look over the test and be like, okay, these are the actual correct answers, and then they would have to prove that these many students passed
Yeah.
these grades and stuff like that. Now they're saying like, oh yeah, they all got A's. Look at
yeah,
that.
they all got A's.
But if
well,
you-
I mean, like the school knows how good the students are doing. That's why they check in with them. Like, hey, this many people is passing. Like,
Yeah.
people who's watching them actually pass or whatever.
But
like,
you would have to watch the direct line of contact because the teacher is still a mediary in between because they
Yeah.
get that info from the teacher.
yeah.
And the teacher's
Well,
the
I
one
mean,
that's
they
getting
can't
the
be
money.
like us. They can't, there's going to be somebody who's
There
going to be shitty. There's always somebody. who fucks
Absolutely.
it
There's
up.
going to be people that'll do it. But if you found a way to regulate it,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that would be really easily done, because you would just literally have to hire a team to just make sure that the teachers aren't fucking manipulating the system for financial gain.
Absolutely.
And if they do, that's immediate termination, and they lose all abilities to be a teacher.
The whole school loses it.
Exactly. And so, and
you
like,
fucked it up for everybody, just like in school.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, one person cheated, we all failed.
Hey, it's like the military, you know, whenever they would fucking somebody would fuck up, they would punish the whole crew instead of that person.
We'll circle back around after all the other schools fuck it up.
Yeah. Right. Well, that teacher would get a fucking blanket party in the fucking cafeteria at the teacher's lounge, I mean.
Oh my god.
They fucking he just walks into the teacher's lounge, like tries to turn the light on.
Yeah.
It's not turning on. He's like, guys, and then all of a sudden it's just, for some reason, new fucking lights are like just fucking shine up. They're all got chains and shit. Beating up with geography books and shit.
Exactly.
But no, like, that's a really good idea, man. And it's like I said, it's kind of like, you know, outside the box ideas like this, which would solve so many hard issues. Like, so like whenever the whole defund the police thing was going on and stuff like that, I came up with a great solution for how I think that this whole thing could be fixed.
Sure. Okay.
And so I think that they should, first off, get rid of street patrol, because you can do what street patrol does with robots now. Get rid of street patrol. Yeah. How often do they actually stumble across a crime? Yeah. Right?
Honestly, if you just had a camera walking around, I'd be terrified. I'd be like, well, I guess I'm not fucking up over here.
Way scarier than a cop. Way scarier than a cop. So if you had speed traps, you don't need those. You don't need cops there for that. You can literally set those up. Yeah. And it doesn't cost that much money. Like, it's a lot cheaper than hiring somebody for that position for an entire fucking year or whatever it costs, you know, to do that sort of thing. If you so first off, get rid of street patrol. Undercover units are strictly tied to drug organizations. Yeah. Strictly. Like, it's like, you know, it's like ATF rules.
It's like, I don't need to be worrying about whether or not the car behind me is fucking a cop trying to catch me fucking speeding, or if they're going to fucking be like, oh, you didn't know this, so here I am, and fucking, let's check the fucking, So that can be completely gotten rid of, right? Undercover units are strictly for drug crimes, terrorism, violent crime, shit like that. Absolutely. Because I think that undercover stuff in those aspects, I think so important. Absolutely.
There's a reason intelligence agencies exist in every single country.
Exactly.
And so get rid of that. And then what you would do is you would structure the police department like the fire department, and you would make them stationary until they got called.
Yeah.
And there's enough of them to where you could make that happen. Yeah. And literally, and like you could, and that would also knock down their time to where they could actually do other things that make them happier. They don't feel like they have to dedicate everything to this job.
Well, then the fucking quotas, like the fact that there's quotas is
get rid of the quotas. Get rid of that bullshit.
Stupid. Yeah, like the fact that like you have to bust a certain amount of people.
And the reason they have those quotas, and the reason they have the quotas is because of the way the whole financial system with the police department and the court system.
Paying them. Just like, oh well, if you make this many, then there's a reason that we're paying you. If you're not, they're the ones who are getting incentives.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. How do police have incentives? Yeah, but fucking teachers and firefighters don't. It's bullshit.
Absolutely.
It's
no,
and
bullshit. Firefighters shouldn't have incentives, because those motherfuckers would be arsonists in a week. They'd be like,
but not for fires. For certain other things, maybe like community events, stuff like that. Like outreach and stuff, because nobody has an issue with the fire department. Like you fucking see a fire truck behind you, you're like, oh cool, that's what's up. You look at them and their turnouts. That's what's up.
I'm assuming that they're doing something good.
Exactly. You see a police officer, you're like,
they're doing something bad. Yeah.
Then you're like, all right, be cool, man.
Yeah. They're either trying to bust me or bust somebody who doesn't fucking need their day ruined. You know, it's just like I never feel like they're
and firefighters are the only ones that can look sexy with an axe busting down someone's door.
Yeah. There's not police calendars.
Exactly. Exactly. No one wants to see the NYPD. They want to see the FDNY, which. Big shout out and claps for the FDNY. Yes. I'm going to put a fucking studio audience, because the FDNY is the first fire department organization in the nation who's not testing for cannabis.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm literally right now in the process of changing my eating habits. I'm starting to work out more, because once that reaches here, I'm going to go back into, because I wanted to be a firefighter for a very long time. Yeah. The only reason I'm not pursuing it is because they can't use cannabis.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's bullshit. Yeah, and I can't subscribe to that.
Yeah. How's it I can inhale smoke all day, but I can't inhale smoke at the end of my day?
Right. But also it's the way their shifts work too. And this kind of ties into what we were just talking about, restructuring the police department like this, because a firefighter normally on a regular fire department works 24 on, 48 off. 24 hours on, 48 hours off.
I can get sober by that time.
Dude, when they're fucking, if they're able, they should be able to come home after a 24-hour shift, light up a fucking joint, blunt, bong hit, whatever it is they want to do, and fucking relax. Because, and then also all they would have to do is just change up their drug testing policy so it checks that as long as you've been consuming within the time of your shift.
Yeah.
And which is easily done.
Easily
they
done.
already have those. They already have 24-hour cannabis test that tells you if you've consumed it just based on a mouth swab.
Yeah.
And they already have those. Just implement that instead of a urine test because it stays in your pee for like 30 fucking days.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and that's if you're lucky.
Yeah,
And that's if you're a normal sized person. If you're a bigger person, if you have a slower metabolism, there's so many factors that go into it.
Yeah.
But you know, they're not going to be stoned when they got high fucking the night before.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. It just makes it so like as soon as you get off your shift, you want to fucking smoke, then like fucking smoke
Exactly.
up, you know?
And if
But,
they
like,
think
you
that they were
can't-
high on the job, they would just make them take that drug test in that 24-hour period.
Yeah,
So it'd be like,
absolutely.
okay, your shift started at 8 a.m., so I want you to come tomorrow at 6
Yeah.
and take this drug test.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and then they would have to do that. And then if boom, and if they were stoned on the job, then punish them. You know,
Absolutely, absolutely.
but the reason they should structure the police department like the fire department is because first off, whenever cops get so aggressive for many reasons, but a big reason why is because they are in high tension all day long.
Absolutely.
And so and anybody has this, like when you're in a high tension mode, the slightest fucking thing could make you snap.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're like, it's actually the reason why road rage happens is because you're constantly controlling this machine. You're aware of people around you. You're at this really high tense state without realizing it. And that's why the slightest fucking thing makes you want to literally fucking hit somebody.
Yeah,
because
that literally makes sense. Somebody somebody had brought that up to me. They're just like, you know, you're literally driving this fucking huge machine with like all these fucking people, and it's just like you can either get mad or you can get scared.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like scared fucking doesn't do you any favors.
Yeah,
but
and that just makes you
mad
freeze
makes
up
you
and-
feel like you're in control.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and then exactly, and you have this high tense state. So the littlest thing will make you snap, and that's why so many police officers fucking snap. Is because they're at this fucking high tense state. They're already really hated. Like, you know, they already have such a huge, even good cops fucking have it so rough because I have friends that are cops. I have family that are cops. And I'm like, bro, I'm sorry. I know you're a good guy.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. And that's why like I was always kind of against like the whole all cops are bastards thing because
I don't really subscribe to that either.
because it's like that's because the dangerous line of thinking is that like thinking that all of a group of people is violent and dangerous is fucking exactly what the problem is. That's where it starts. That's why we're where we're at.
Exactly. And it's like I never subscribed to that thought either. And it sucks because I love punk rock, but that's such a huge thing with the punk scene.
And same thing with like hip hop.
And even when I was like in my hardcore punk phase back in the day, like I had a lot of brushes with bad police officers and shit like that. And fucking I went to Milwaukee High. Milwaukee police are some of the biggest dickheads in Oregon.
Yeah, I believe it.
Crazy.
I believe it. Small town fucking I don't know if it's
dude,
a small
I got
town,
stopped for
but, like,
fucking jaywalking. It was so stupid.
Dude, they have nothing else to fucking do.
Exactly.
And, so
And
they're
it's-
literally
they're just
like, you
busting
think
drunk
normal
kids
cops
and-
have quotas? Those motherfuckers have nothing to do and quotas.
Yeah, and a big chunk of them that I've dealt with. I've had a couple that are really all right, but most of them are fucking assholes.
Let's just agree that most cops are bastards.
A lot of them are. There's a lot of
cops
them.
are okay. I will meet you at a lot of cops.
So
are
I'll say
bastards.
that ACAB.
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of cops are
yeah, a
bastards.
lot
Not
of cops,
all
yeah.
cops, but there's a lot of them that are fucking dickheads. And it's like, so you
Okay.
get rid of the street patrol, and then you have the police officers in a station, and then when they get called, they go.
Yeah. And then, it's like they're not on the other side of town when you're like, hey, somebody's breaking in. They're like, well, we
And
don't
if
have any
there's-
somebody in the area. It's
And
just
also
like,
exactly, and that way, because also
Why
when a
aren't they in the fucking area?
when a firefighter's not on a call, what are they doing? They're training, they're staying in shape, they're keeping their minds in shape,
Mm-hmm.
they're making sure they have all the resources to deal with all the PTSD. Like they have a lot more of that with the fire department than they do the police department.
absolutely. And I think
so if you just
addressing
structure
the
mental
mental health of the people who are doing it,
Yes.
it's like that's
that's where it
something
all stems from.
Well, I mean, mean, I think that like we think of like the people who they're persecuting is the people with mental health problems. You're always just like, oh, that guy had mental health problems and he just got shot up. It's like, did you ever think that the person who shot him had mental health problems?
Yes,
you
exactly. So to address that whole thing is because when a fire department has a call that comes over, it tells them what's going on, the box number, the address, and what engine and ladder or rescue team, what unit needs to go.
Yeah.
So they'd be like, sit there, listen, and then it'd be like, like engine 5, and then they get up and go get their shit. And it'd be like ladder 26, and then the ladder gets up and gets their shit. Like, oh, we're both going, let's go.
Yeah.
And they would have a way to be able to say potential mental health crisis. That's where you could bring negotiators, mental health experts with people with guns.
Exactly.
Like,
no, because both are valuable.
Exactly.
And
that's you found a way to combine them.
We can't neglect that. Like, if everyone's going to have guns, we need to have people with guns that can handle situations.
Well, and the fire department will do this sometimes, because what they'll do is, like, if they have like a potential like jumper or something like that, and the fire department, they'll bring like a chaplain with them.
Yeah.
And they'll actually ride with the battalion chief.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes they'll do that on major fires to go and help out with the people that are there, saying, hey, it's going to be okay. We got you. Like, and then the chaplain will be there to pray with them if they're into that, or just to talk to them or whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like the police department needs the equivalent of that. And also it would give them a lot more time to work with the community that they're in, and they would become a lot more respected.
Absolutely, because they're working with us, not against
rather
us.
than just gun trade-ins and needle trades and all that kind of shit.
Yeah. It's just like, hey, I'll give you some money for if you give me your stuff. It's just
which is the whole gun thing.
No, I'm just gonna go steal guns, motherfucker.
The whole gun return thing is such a fucking setup. I'm surprised people actually do that. They're literally like, hey, come bring us your guns, no questions asked. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm sure you didn't swab that and be like, was this used in a
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody would just be using it as a laundering fucking front. They'd be
right.
like, yeah, just fucking, you just give it to this guy, no question asked.
You change things up and like that, I think it could help so much.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's why I think defunding the police and not like abolishing the police is like, the ultimate thing. It's just like there needs to be less money put into this, or money allocated in a way that's like helpful
exactly.
to the community.
It needs to be redistributed. It needs to be like, because they have within the budget that they have right now, because also think of if you were to so let's say just cutting off street patrol alone and installing these robots, you are saving millions upon millions upon millions of dollars of car damage, like anything like that, like fucking gas, insurance, all those different things that come into just outfitting one street police officer. Just one of them is probably like over $1 million a year, probably. Yeah. Just for the car and the uniform and everything.
This episode RoboCop.
I'm down to call this episode RoboCop. That's amazing. I need to find out like a way to impose our faces onto characters of RoboCop.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I'll make you RoboCop.
Yeah. Please,
I'll even have the afro sticking out.
Thank you. No, I was gonna say this is my one request.
Absolutely. But that's a way you can restructure it and everything, man. Like, and I think that would be so beneficial.
I
talked about this on one of my earliest episodes, actually. So it's actually the first episode you can find on the catalog right now. I talk about this exact subject.
Yeah, no, I think sometimes it just comes back around.
Always. That's the great thing about podcasting.
Absolutely.
Is it comes back around in full circle and shit like that. And
you remember stuff that you talked about, just like, oh shit, like I forgot that we talked about that. You know what I mean? Like there's episodes I listen back to, I'm like, oh yeah, fucking I forgot that like that was a conversation.
Oh, I know. And it's
a
really
cool reminder and like time capsule sometimes.
It is, and that's just what I was gonna say. It's kind of like a time capsule, because it's like, one of the great things about having a podcast is after I'm long gone, my daughter's going to have this huge collection of her dad's voices, conversations, thoughts, and the way that my opinions have matured and changed throughout the podcast.
Absolutely.
I go and listen to early episodes. I'm like,
you're like saying the N-word like Joe Rogan.
That whole situation, man.
I'm kidding. I know that you don't. You.
No, for sure. That was a really
listen back just in case. Just give them listens.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Hey, go check for me if you want, for sure. But it's like, in that whole situation, the whole Joe Rogan thing is like, he made a really big mistake. I did using that word in any context.
I mean, I'm half white, and sometimes I'm just like, did the white side say that? Like I have to I have to check in with myself, check my half privilege.
Yeah, right. When I was like a little kid, I was like in a predominantly black neighborhood, and I remember I said it during a song one time, and I got my ass beat. I learned. So yeah, I'll call myself out on that right now.
Hey, let's get it out of the way.
Yeah, fucking go ahead and try to fucking cancel me, bitch. I don't do enough to get canceled. But like in a, and I think that, like, so like whenever the whole clip that came out about Rogan and stuff like that, like the thing is he was talking about the word, but he should have just used the N-word.
Yeah, use the phrase the N-word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that was the biggest mistake. But everybody was like, oh, he's this racist piece of shit. I'm like, come on, dude.
I haven't even seen it. Like he could have been saying it in a song. Like
he was talking about the power of it. Like he was talking about that. He was like, that's one word. Yeah. That like it's so powerful we call it the N-word.
Yeah.
Like
the only other thing that we use that preface on is the bomb. I almost thought the N-bomb was an actual bomb, and that is not true. Is it a nuclear bomb? It can't be.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, can we start calling it? Russia's gonna drop the N-bomb.
Clip. We changed the name of the nuke to the N-bomb.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to be dropping N-bombs left and right.
Like nobody's going to want to drop it.
It's going to be an N-bomb war. They're going to be all over the place. We're going to have N-bombs dropped all over Alabama.
They were already dropping it, but that was a different one.
Exactly. They were dropping N-bombs in the deserts in Nevada, like so out in the middle of nowhere so we can't see it. They could drop
in its
N-bombs
car when it's driving around.
We all know the government drops N-bombs in secret.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking
the N-bombs
great.
They don't tell you about.
You should use that for a bit. There's a great premise.
I feel like we would drop it less if we called it the N-bomb. There'd be less talks about it. It'd be like, oh man.
John Mulaney had a funny joke about the N-word, and he was talking about how like there was
when they were talking, the little person,
like, you can't use the word midget.
Like, one of these words we're saying, and the other one we won't. Yeah,
it's like midget is like the N-word. He's like, no, it's not. It's like, why? It's like, because you wouldn't even say the N-word. That's how bad it is.
Exactly. One of these words we're not even saying. What
exactly.
It is.
Right.
So
yeah, Rogan definitely fucked up with that. But I mean, I listen to his podcast a lot and everything, and
because somebody fucked up and because somebody's still fucking up they're two different
for
things,
sure. And he acknowledged that it was a dumb move to do that.
And that's what you have to do is like 100%. You have to like accountability is admitting that there was.
And I hated the people that were like, he shouldn't have apologized. I'm like, no, he fucked up, dude. Like, come on, he fucked up. Like, exactly. And even he's like, ugh, yeah, I shouldn't have said that.
Exactly. And it's possible to look back at yourself before and like even if it's like a couple years, even if it's fucking last week, like you need to be able to look at yourself and be like, I wasn't my best self in that moment. I wasn't my best self in multiple moments. I wasn't.
Well, and also when when you've met truly racist people, there's no way they would have that many black voices on their millions of listeners of show or anything like that. There's no fucking way on a true racist would ever be like that. And
no. If it would be it'd be the white dude podcast, and that's not to say it's not entirely. It's not that entirely, but I mean it's not. It's also not that. Like there has to be accountability and credit where credit is due.
Yes.
It's like if he was a truly racist person, would he be up late? He has this huge fan base. Like he's uplifting voices every time he puts somebody on that podcast. It's like he's not doing it to cash in on black voices. He's doing it because he believes what those people have to say is interesting.
Well, he had that one guy that was on there. I can't remember his name. He's a blues musician, but he actually he's been responsible for like turning like 20 something Klan members and getting them to quit and turn in their hoods and shit like that.
I love that guy just because it's like it's genuinely like you have to meet people where they're at. Like the second you call a Republican an idiot, the second you stop any line of like communication and potential for them to like see you across the table. You know what I mean? Like you have to be able to look people in the face and be like, hey, like I understand why you think this way, but I need you to also try to understand why I think this way too.
Well, you ever notice that whenever because you brought up a good case of like division and stuff like that, and have you ever noticed like the times of greatest division are right after the times of great unison? It always works out that way.
I have not noticed that,
so check this out. Like if you look at just the timeline of events, the height of the Occupy movement was in the November of 2011, right? And at this point, you can actually look at statistics. Hate crimes were at an all-time low. There was no racial divide, really. Like, I mean, there was, but it wasn't nearly as much as it is right now.
Sure.
And everybody was a lot more unified because they were realizing we are the 99%, you are the 1%.
Yeah.
We want what's worth for us. Like, we want what we need. And it's
Exactly.
bullshit that we're all slaving away at this, and you guys are fucking destroying
Just
bridges
fucking
to
chilling,
fit your
yeah.
yachts through
Yeah,
and everything like
exactly.
that. Everybody was starting to look at the government. Everybody. We were all unified on that front.
Yeah.
Then, February 2012, Trayvon Martin gets killed.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter, the organization, starts. There is all this division. 2012 is also the year of the Dark Knight Rises shooting, the Clackamas Town Center shooting, Sandy Hook shooting, and all those happened in 2012.
That's crazy.
And it was a case of divide of race and guns.
Yeah.
Right now, so we kind of were working through that.
Right.
And then right now, like it was the 2020 division was right when people were kind of starting to unify a little bit.
Yeah, and kind
you
of just
know,
be like, hey, Trump probably isn't the best person.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, like people started to see that. Even people who had supported him for years were kind of just like, this guy actually kind of sucks.
Well,
you
and
know?
he was like, it was a lot of drama. And it's funny because actually Rogan had a funny bit about this. And he was talking about, he's like, we just were in like a really great long relationship with a very smooth, understanding person. And now we're dating a whore. And he was like, and it was like, that was a great metaphor for it. It was like, it was just a lot of, we were all kind of like, all right, man, this might be a little too much and everything like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not happy about Biden.
No, I'm
it's
not any more
it's
happy about him, but it's
fucking
just that,
hilarious.
There was definitely more of a division because it was just like, I feel like a lot of white supremacists came out of the woodwork and were just like, they were very like adamant about like,
they got very loud. They got
very
very
and it's
loud.
like, it's not to say that
and
it
very
didn't exist
emboldened.
before, but yeah, it was like, because it was emboldened, it was like, it made it harder to be separated from.
And what sucks though is like when you actually look back on it, like they were just kind of like, it wasn't like Trump himself was saying these different viewpoints. It was just the people that voted for him got really, really loud, and there was these groups of people that were just not the best
and that's
people.
the thing that happens when people get loud is not everybody has a great fucking opinion.
Exactly,
You
and it's
know?
like that on
So-
both sides of the aisle too.
Absolutely,
Like, and it's
absolutely,
for
Like,
sure.
Because that's a thing that a lot of people have trouble with is just like, you know, realizing that like hard left is just as fucking annoying as hard right.
Oh,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean?
But people
Like,
don't realize how much closer they are.
one I feel is more dangerous, but like at the same time, I've seen the other side be just as
they're
dangerous.
both just as dangerous as the
Absolutely,
other, because
yeah.
it's more like a lot of people think of like the political spectrum kind of just like a line, but really it's like
horseshoe.
it's a horseshoe.
Yeah,
Exactly.
somebody told me that. Yeah, and I was like, I think that's such a cool.
They're
fucking
so much
perspective.
closer than they realize, that they're both like fucking crazy, because you
Yeah.
have one that's very fascistic and then you have one that's like communistic, and those are both very terrible things.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they're
exactly.
both not great things.
Yeah.
My last name is Jewish. We got chased out of fucking Russia by the Bolshevik during the communist revolution.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
socialist, which turned into communism. But it was like it was so that there's a lot of negativity on both sides of those aisles, and it sucks because like we were kind of getting a little bit more unified, and then boom, 2020 happens. Now, and it just happened again recently, because we were all starting to kind of come back together saying, hey, this COVID response wasn't the best. Like these vaccines aren't working.
Yeah, and like after missing everybody, you know, like you almost missed even seeing the people that like you weren't the biggest fan of.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
like I had spent so much time by myself inside that like even if it was like a fucking, you know, like a Trump supporter, I'm like, fuck, there's somebody here, you know.
No,
like,
for sure,
Like you're a
exactly.
human, like you've been going through the same shit.
Well, and
sitting
also
in your
you're the type
house,
of person that's like, you would let, you know, you can find other things other than political ideology to talk about, you know.
Absolutely. Well, that's something that like I drive for Lyft, you know, and it's like that's the thing that I really appreciate is like just driving around for Lyft and talking to people, and like maybe even picking up a Trump supporter and just being like, hey, what's the thing that we have in common? Like anybody can find the difference between
Absolutely.
us. Anybody can find a difference.
Absolutely.
It's literally a fucking game. Is spot the difference.
But we were all starting to unify and find those things, because
Yeah.
the one thing that we all had in common: the government cannot be trusted. That is one thing that we all agree upon right now.
Yeah.
Does not matter who the fuck you voted for in 2016, 2020. Does not matter.
Yeah.
We all know they're fucking shit up.
Yeah.
Right now, Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
perfect
boom,
fucking example.
this is a perfect time to go ahead and divide you guys up again.
Yeah.
Let's get you guys fighting, and that way we can do our shit over here.
Yeah.
It's a magic trick. That's all it is. It's a fucking magic trick.
Absolutely.
When
yeah,
they
sleight
say
of hand.
they say look right, look down, because
Yeah.
it's not going to be left either.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and it's like
That's
don't
fucking really good.
don't
That's really
look
good.
don't look where they don't even look in the opposite direction that they want you to, because they're smarter than that.
Yeah,
and they know what they're
yeah.
doing. And this is it's Machiavellian. This shit's been done for centuries.
That's really good. And I
And-
like that perspective.
And right now we're gonna fall like the fucking Roman Empire unless we do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
No,
know?
we're gonna do this school drive and
Get teachers fucking paid more and educate
teachers paid
people.
more. Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Exactly. Well, fuck, dude. I think that would be a great place to sign off, man.
think so.
That was fucking awesome. Zane Thomas,
Absolutely.
this was
Always
a blast.
fun. Thank
Let the
you so
people know
much,
where they
Blair.
can find you, bud.
You can find me on Instagram under it's Zane Thomas, and you can find me on Facebook under just Zane Thomas, and that's ZaneThomas.
All right. We're going to play a little Zane Thomas on the way out. And thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Hippy Speedball Podcast. It is Joe, your host with the most Joe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.
I pump my fist at this establishment enough to turn a pacifist into a violent activist. I pump my fist at this establishment enough to turn a pacifist.